Hello everyone, welcome to the Learn with Sandra show channel. My name is Alexandra and I remain your academic guide. So in today's video, we are going to be concluding the JAMB CBT past question for the subject government in 2023, and we're going to be tackling question 53 to 79. So stay with us, don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back. Question 53. Conservatism is an ideology that emphasizes that the answer to this question is traditional values and institutions. So conservatism is an ideology that upholds traditional values, cultural values, and all of that. So when I saw the word conservatism, it took me straight to a word that I use on a day-to-day basis, that is conservative. I like to use it in the context of dressing. Oh, she prefers to be conservative in her dressing and all of that. So yeah. So I knew right away the answer to the question is option D. So option D is the final answer to this question. Question 54. So the Oputa panel was established in Nigeria to dash. So this panel was established in the year 2000 under the civilian government of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, and it was established to investigate human rights abuses during the military rule. And the panel was led by Justice Chukwudifu. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that word right or well. So, but the answer to this question is definitely option C, investigate human rights abuses during the military rule. Question 55. So without president's assent, the legislature can pass a bill into law with vote of dash majority. So the answer to this question is two-thirds, and that is option B. Okay, so the legislative rather can pass a bill into law with the vote of two-thirds majority. Now, what does this mean? Let's say we have a total of 100 members, so 100 times 2 over 3, and that gives us about 66.6. So approximately we have 67. So 67 members have to, accept this bill before it is made into law. 67 out of 100, don't forget. So the answer to this question is option B, two-thirds. Question 56. Which institution is responsible for the regulation and supervision of capital markets in Nigeria? The answer to this question is SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay, so it's that body that oversees, supervise the activity of the capital market. Okay, so NSE is an institution where, stock are bought and sold. It just basically facilitates trading activity. So SEC regulates NSE. So don't mix it up. Okay, when we speak of CAC, CAC is that body that, regulates companies in Nigeria or business establishment, right? FRCN sets the standards for accounting and financial reporting. So the answer to this question is option B. Question 57. The zoning system in Nigerian politics refers to dash. Now, the zoning system in Nigeria simply ensures that political power is fairly distributed among the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. So this simply alternates, for example, the presidential seat among various zones in Nigeria. For example, Nigeria is divided into 6 geopolitical zones. So if the president from the northeast completes his term or tenure, the next president has to come from the south-south, okay, before it rotates back to another person, in the northern region. Okay, so there's already a negotiation for this, and this negotiation is usually within political parties. So there's already an agreement to serve this purpose, this rotation system. So the answer to this question is option A, the rotation of power among different regions. Question 58. Judges in the International Court of Justice are appointed for a period of dash years. The answer to this question is option D, 9. So judges in the International Court are appointed for a non-renewable term of 9 years. Now, this implies that once you complete your term, you are not eligible for, reappointment or extension of whatsoever. So you're done, basically. So the answer to this question is option D, 9. Question 59. The 1963 Constitution created a list of powers exclusively reserved for the dash. The answer to this question is the federal government. Okay, so the 1963 Constitution created a list of power. We have the concurrent power, we have the exclusive power, and we have the residual power. These are the categories. Okay, so we know the concurrent power is the power shared between the state and the federal. The exclusive power is exclusively reserved for the federal government. So when it comes to matters regarding national security, currency, foreign affairs, they are exclusively for the federal government. And even the residual power, which was not, assigned to any branch of government in the constitution is automatically granted to the federal government by default. Technically, because the federal government is on the highest level, right? So that's by the way. The answer to this question is definitely option A, federal government. Question 60. So when Africa is the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy, it is said to be dash. The answer to this question is Afrocentric. Afrocentric focuses on African history, African culture, African achievements, or anything that shows or emphasizes the importance of African culture and perspective is Afrocentric. It is as simple as that. Do not confuse this with Pan-African or Pan-Africanism. When you think of Pan-Africanism, think of it as a movement that emphasizes the solidarity of people, the unity of people, advocating for the advancement, the empowerment of African nations. Okay, so another simple example I can give for Afrocentric is with Yemi Alade. So Yemi Alade constantly, portrays the African culture with her fashion, with her dress sense. So she's pretty much Afrocentric. Okay, it is just as simple as that. So option A is the final answer to this question. The Electoral Commission that organized the 1979 general election was dash. The answer to this question is option A, FEDECO. Okay, so it is important to note that Nigeria has had various electoral body conduct election in Nigeria over time. Okay, so it started with ECN, the Electoral Commission of Nigeria, and later it was dissolved, and FEDECO was introduced, Federal Electoral Commission. It was introduced and formed by a military government under the leadership of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And FEDECO conducted the 1979 general election as well as the 1983 election. So you need to note this. So after a while, FEDECO was dissolved and INEC was introduced, Independent National Electoral Commission, and that is what we still use till today. Okay, so INEC conducts our election presently. So the answer to this question is option A, FEDECO. Question 62. The process of forming public opinion is known as dash. The answer to this question is socialization. Now, socialization is the process of acquiring values, belief, attitudes, all of which shape our behavior, okay, and help us to make informed decision, forms our opinion as well, okay. So socialization is the act of just associating yourself with people, and these people influence your opinion, influence your decision in the long run. So the answer to this question is definitely option B, socialization. Question 63. So Nigeria's foreign policy is influenced by its position as a major exporter of dash. The answer to this question is option B, natural resources. So Nigeria is known for its natural resources, especially crude oil. And so other countries wanted to maintain a friendly relation with Nigeria. They wanted to maintain a friendly relationship, interact well with Nigerians for that advantage. Okay, so the answer to this question is definitely option B, natural resources. Question 64. Which constitution established the Public Service Commission? The answer to this question is option B, the 1979 Constitution. So the 1979 Constitution is renowned because it ushered us into the presidential system of government, and it also made provision for the Public Service Commission, which was established during that period. And the Public Service Commission is the body responsible for overseeing and managing the recruitment, the selection, as well as the appointment of individuals in the public sector. The answer to this question is no doubt option B, the 1979 Constitution. Question 65. Which of the following statements about pressure group is true? The best answer to this question is option B. They can have both positive and negative impact on the government. Now, what does this imply? Now, some of the interests of pressure group can be based on social justice. And because it is social justice, of course, it will favor the general public. But sometimes they can exert pressure and force on the government to change policies, to enact policies that favor just a group of people, and this is a negative impact. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B. They can have both positive and negative impact on the government. Now, when you take a look at option A, they have no influence on the decision-making process. That's not true. They do have influence on the decision-making process. That is their sole aim, to influence the government, to influence them to change policies, to make policies, and all of that. Option C and D is also not the answer to this question. So the best answer is option B. Question 66. Public opinion refers to. Now, an opinion becomes a public opinion when it is expressed by a significant number of the population within a country. So this implies that when majority of the people within a country is talking about it or is saying the same thing, that's public opinion. So the answer to this question is option A, the opinion or majority of the people in a society. Question 67. The process of decolonization in Nigeria was hugely impacted by dash. The answer to this question is option D, World War II. So World War II played a significant role in the decolonization process in Nigeria and other colonies. So this war weakened the colonial masters, militarily and economically. They couldn't maintain control over their colonies. Okay, so the World War II was between several countries, but there were two main adversaries, the Allied power and the Axis power. The Allied power include countries such as USA, UK, and so on. The Axis power include Italy, Japan, and so on and so forth. So the answer to this question is option B. Option D, World War II. Question 68. Which of the following is a concurrent power in the Nigerian federal system? Basically, there are three powers. We have the concurrent, we have the residual, and we have the exclusive power. Okay, so for the concurrent power, it is shared between the state government and the federal government. So the question says, which of the following is a concurrent power in the Nigerian federal system? So the answer to this question is option B, education and healthcare. Education and healthcare is shared between the state and the federal. So the federal government have power over education and the healthcare system as well as the federal government. So option A, currency and coinage, option B, foreign affairs, option D, defense and national security are under the exclusive power of the federal government. So the answer to this question is option B, education and healthcare. Question 69. In the proportional representation electoral system, seats in the legislature are located based on dash. The answer to this question is they are based on percentage. Option C, the percentage of votes a party receives. So this implies that if a party receives 20% of votes, they get 20% seats, okay, in the legislative, okay? So this is quite different from the winner takes all system. This one emphasizes on an individual. So if an individual receives, the majority of votes, he gets to take a seat in the legislature, okay? So the answer to this question is option C, the percentage of votes a party receives. Now, by the way, Nigeria employs the mixed member proportional representation. So it uses this system, this electoral system, proportional representation, as well as a winner takes all system. Okay, so the answer to this question is no doubt option C. Question 70. When an election fails to produce a clear winner, the process of determining a winner is called dash. The answer to this question is option A rerun election. So a rerun election is holding another election, to determine the winner, to, obtain a decisive outcome. So the answer to this question is option B, a rerun election. Question 71. Which committee is responsible for the detailed scrutiny of a bill? Okay, so committees are groups or a group of members appointed to investigate, to debate, and report on legislation, bills. And committee is a very important part of the legislative process. There are different types of, committee. We have ad hoc committee, we have the standing committee, we have joint, we have select, as listed in the options provided. Okay, so there are two categories of committee. We have the temporary committee and we have the permanent committee. But the answer to this question is option D, select committee, which is a temporary committee that is created to perform a specific task, to carry out a specific task, and it usually involves the investigation of a bill. Okay, so this entails a detailed scrutiny of a bill. So the answer is option D, unlike option B, standing committee, which is a permanent committee and they are assigned to review and report bills to the House. Okay, so the answer to this question is option D, select committee. Question 72. So which constitutional amendment introduced the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria? So the introduction of the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria was not as a result of a constitutional amendment. It was a policy implemented by the Nigerian government in 1995 under the administration of General Sani Abacha. So the answer to this question is option D, none of the above. Question 73. Which arm of government has the power to declare laws unconstitutional? The answer to this question is judiciary. The judiciary have the power to declare that a law is unconstitutional. Okay, and this power is referred to as the judicial review. Okay, so yeah, if the legislative, pass a law that is found to be in conflict with the constitution, the judiciary can, declare it invalid. Okay, so the answer to this question is option A, judiciary. Question 74. A political party that advocates for social equality, workers' rights, and wealth redistribution is most likely aligned with which ideology? The answer to this question is option B, socialism. Now, socialism, the means of production and distribution is controlled by the state or the public, and the goal of a socialist nation is to, achieve social and economic equality. So the answer to this question is no doubt option B, socialism. Question 75. Gerontocracy is a form of government in which power is held by dash. Now, this is a form of government in which power is held by the elderly people or the old people. Okay, so the answer to this question is option D, the old. The following is an example of public pressure group. So when we speak of pressure group is a group of people who try to influence the government decision and policy to serve a particular interest. Okay, so when we speak of Red Cross is more like an humanitarian response, humanitarian aid, to people, like more like a first aid treatment to people, right? Amnesty International work towards, protecting human rights. Now, when we speak of national farmers, yes, this is a pressure group because they represent the interest of farmers and agriculture-related industries, right? Now, Greenpeace is also a pressure group because they focus on environmental issues, and Greenpeace advocates for certain policies to be changed to protect the planet. So I, for one, will stick with option D as a final answer to this question because it addresses public issues. So when we speak of environmental issues, they are public related issues. So aside from the fact that it is globally recognized, it gains a lot of media attention and visibility across the world, it is something that you and I benefit directly. Okay, but when we talk about National Farmers Union, it is specific to farmers. It is more of a specific interest. So option D will be my final answer to this question. If you have better explanation solutions to any of those questions, please feel free to share with us in the comment section below. Question 77. Who amongst the following did not serve as Secretary General of the League of Nations? The answer to this question is option A, Joseph Broz Tito. Okay, so he served as the leader of Yugoslavia instead. Okay, not the Sec-Gen of the League of Nations. But option B, Sean Lester served from 1940 to 1946. We have Joseph Avenel served from 1933 to 1940, and Eric Drummond served from 1920 to 1933. So the answer to this question is option A, Joseph Broz Tito. Question 78. Which Nigerian leader played a significant role in mediating peace talks during the Liberian Civil War? So the Liberian Civil War was between 1989 to 2003, and don't forget that we have the first Civil War and the second Civil War in Liberia. Okay, so former President Olusegun Obasanjo played a significant role. He was involved in regional efforts to bring stability in Liberia, and he served from 1999 to 2007. So don't forget, option A is the final answer to this question. Question 79. So under General Aggrey Ironsi, Decree 34 introduced the dash system of government. The answer to this question is the unitary system of government. So it abolished the federal system of government, and in place of that we have the unitary system of government, and it was established on the 24th of May 1966. Okay, so the Decree 34 is also known as the Unification Decree, so you should note that also. So the answer to this question is option A, unitary. So guys, we've finally concluded the JAMB CBT past question for the subject government year 2023. I am so happy that we finally, come to the end of this particular past question. Okay, it's been an amazing journey. Thank you for staying tuned. Do not forget to give me a like. Okay, click on the subscribe button and also do well to tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as I release the next video. Thank you once again for staying tuned, and I see you in my next video. Bye for now.